this content is for kids.
It's not for kids.
Isn't that what I said?
No, it's not for kids. If you are 13 years or younger, this is not for you. Do I have to kill somebody in order to actually make that point across?
No, man, you don't have to kill no one.
Wait a second.
Oh, no.
We return to our planet. The High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies. We like movies. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. I'd buy that for $1.
Greetings, you're watching SeptumSin versus the world. I'm SeptumSin. This is Kotobukijake.
Hey.
And we're here to show you what we got.
Show me what you got. I want to see what you got. Oh boy.
It's the spooky season.
It is.
Day after Halloween. Technically it's not anymore because it's Tuesday the 1st. No, the 2nd. Because it'll be on a Wednesday when this goes off.
Okay.
But we're filming this on the 31st.
Yeah.
So this is Halloween.
Yes.
Technically.
So when this airs, you're going to be kind of in that middle ground where you're starting to feel thankful for all the spooky experiences you had over the weekend.
And Bela Lugosi is behind us.
Yes.
To frighten us for this Halloween.
Right.
So this is the
So
last.
is Lena Inverse.
So technically, this is the last of
And Mickey.
our Halloween content, and it's not going to be very Halloween-ish. I decided to. I've got some pickups that Kim had, and then I decided to tailor my pickups to be Halloween-ish,
Okay.
so as to do it. As you know, I have a lot to choose from, so it is what it is.
Yeah.
So let's get started. Kim wanted me to show her pickups. She doesn't do a lot of movie pickups, but one of them is she went ahead and on that Prime thing, they had it on sale, so she went ahead and picked up the new Matrix movie on 4K. I have not seen it yet. Have you seen this yet?
I have not.
I just haven't
Is
really.
it 2021 or 2022?
It's 2022. It came out early this year.
Oh, so it is potentially eligible for next year's Versus Awards?
Oh yeah, I'll have it watched
I'll
before
have to
we're
see
up
it.
for that.
I'll
yes.
have to see it then, yes.
And I've heard mixed things. I've heard that it's potentially good, but not as good as it could be. Alright. I'm going to keep an eye on my texts.
Okay.
So, the next is she got the 4K Steelbook
4K
of the Bram Stoker's Dracula 25th Anniversary Edition.
That is a nice looking edition.
So that it replaces my Blu-ray, which is going to just go into the storage bin under my Blu-ray, and then this will be the better. Usually if we have the same edition, what we do is one of those editions goes into storage, and it's usually the lesser of the two editions. Like she's got a good edition of Black Hawk Down. I have a crappy edition. She has Clerks X, and I have the DVD release of Clerks.
Oh, I have Clerks X. It's a nice edition.
And you know, just like I got some things that are nicer, but I can't remember what they are. I know I do have some things that were nicer editions.
Yeah.
I'm sure if I really wanted to, I could look. I was actually the one that had the nicer edition of Dracula for the longest time, because I had the Blu-ray, she had the DVD. But now she got the nicer version. So that's going to be the one that's up in the collection. And mine goes into storage.
I know I have the nicer edition of this one, but
That's a sneak peek for next week.
Haha. Okay. That's why I did it quickly. So am I leading off with the proper, or
Yep.
okay? So, our friend of the channel, Dane, was offering some stuff for a friend, he says. He frequently puts stuff up on, and we will often purchase them. And this friend apparently had a lot of stuff on my potential to get list. So I just gave him a list, and I got these for a pretty good price. I'm not too upset about it. And the first one, talking about getting better editions, is a movie that I only had on DVD, and now I've upgraded to Blu-ray. And this one does have a lot of special features on it. And this is kind of spooky because it has Tom Cruise, and he's spooky. And that's the movie Collateral, which, of course... Yeah, oh, very good. This, of course, was a film from back in the day. I think it was 04. Yeah, 04. Michael Mann directed film. So you know it's going to be pretty cool and stylish and nice action-packed film. Featured Tom Cruise as a cold-blooded hitman and Jamie Foxx as the driver who kind of gets roped into going along on a job for more or less against his will. This movie helped Fox get the rare accolade of a double Oscar nomination. Of course, that was the year where he won for Ray. But the Academy so liked this performance that they did some bullshit and nominated him for supporting actor for a role that clearly was a co-starring role. And of course they ignored Cruise because Cruise as a villain is not what most people wanted to see. I love it. I think he's good as a villain. He did a good job. And Fox is great. This is a solid film. I enjoyed it. I haven't seen it in years, but I definitely enjoyed it. And again, upgrade from DVD to Blu-ray. It's going to save me some space and probably look a little nicer in the bargain.
You know, considering how I hear about Tom Cruise, he certainly does play the part of the villain in real life a lot of times.
Oh, yeah.
So, I wanted to show this originally, Cadence of Hyrule, because this goes into the why. I'm going to change the lighting a little bit. Because I don't need it that way. Let's take it that way. That look better? A little bit better on the eyes, a little easier on the eyes.
Hey.
So,
Hi.
So Cadence of Hyrule, which I have to get... There we go. This one was made by the studio that did something else, which I decided to go ahead and I found it used, which was Crypt of the Necrodancer. Now this is this has all the DLC, so it has everything there. This is an indie game, but it got so popular that they actually teamed up with Nintendo, and Nintendo actually let them use their Legend of Zelda property for a similar game. Now this comes with a lot of cool things in it. It comes with this little soundtrack disc.
Isn't that a cute little box?
And a little manual, which is kind of nice. Now, how this works is it's a rhythm game.
Okay.
And you hop along this kind of grid pattern, and you slay monsters. And you have to do it to the beat. So you have to, like, you know, hop, 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 hop. If the beat's like doom, 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 and you know, and you kill the monsters that way. And it gets more and more complex as it goes. This one, from what I've heard, is even more fun because it has a lot of the traditional Legend of Zelda tracks on it. So some really cool stuff. It's definitely got a good Halloween vibe. So that's also a kind of neat thing.
Cool.
So, that's...
Alright.
Yep, go for it.
Interesting thing about this, I had it arranged alphabetically. It follows a nice progression with hardly any changing of positions. Because we start off with conversions. And the next one is one that I have the DVD, and now I've converted it to a Blu-ray that will be more compact. This is a film that is very appropriate to the season because it is horrifying. Some people find it more so, or for different reasons.
To the November season, anyway.
Yes. Well, again, appropriate to Halloween because it's a horror story. For those of you who are familiar with a little documentarian by the name of Michael Moore, you may remember that he did an excoriating expose of sorts on the Bush administration called Fahrenheit 9/11. And he decided to revisit that title with his look into the Trump era, Fahrenheit 11/9, which, if I recall correctly, was Election Day that particular year. Which is kind of interestingly ironic that all he had to do was flip 9/11 over, and we get two of the great tragedies of the American recent history.
No. Some of our watchers may consider it one of the greatest triumphs in American history.
I did concede that some people would find this horrifying for different reasons.
Yeah.
For those of you who do like Michael Moore, he is a very entertaining documentarian, but even I will readily concede that he does not deal in fact so much as propaganda. He is a propagandist, but he still makes a very entertaining and educational films, and this one was interesting. And again, I get to save space, and that for me is a major reason to think about getting.
There are a few of his pieces that could work across the aisle, but they're very few and far between. I mean, Canadian Bacon, I've seen
That was
like
a fictional
from most
one,
people.
but yeah, it's,
Maybe, I mean, the Columbine one is one of his best, but I don't know if it really works both ways. Roger and Me could with a certain type of.
Well, both of those, it
right-winger.
depends on the audience.
Yeah.
Like, it depends on what they really hold dear. Like, if you're one of the people that guns are everything and that's all, you would hate Bowling for Columbine.
Yeah.
But
And I think Roger and Me could hold up to certain right-wing standards because it does have the idea of keep the factories in America, and yes, people are willing
it's a
to
very
work.
pro-worker movie.
Yeah, so
it's not pro big business.
Yeah. No. So this one here is one that I think it's the only one that I've got on my selection that we covered an Inside Movie Galore.
We did, and
And
it was a strange choice.
And I got it because I have pretty much all but one of the movies we've covered on Inside Movies Galore that are available, and that is Deathgasm. I think this was this Katie's choice? I think it was. Essentially, it's about these metalheads that end up summoning demons with the Black Hymn, and they've got to stop them, kind of Evil Dead style. Mm-hmm. It's a decent film.
Yeah, it's all right.
I mean, I had to re-pot it because it was in a really broken case.
Yeah.
But if you look at it from this, you wouldn't know that it was changed out case-wise. Mm-hmm. And for $2, it wasn't a bad purchase.
$2.
Yep, in a broken case.
Yeah, I could see that almost.
So it was worthwhile. I mean, it's not a bad movie. It's enjoyable. It's a little bit gross.
I'd buy that for $1.
So I mean, did you like Deathgasm?
It was all right. I mean, I did not love it. I did not hate it. I was kind of neutral on it, but really, given some of the stuff we've been shown on Movies Galore, that almost comes off as praise.
True enough.
But we have seen some good stuff. So next up, a couple of movies that I think we probably will eventually have to hit on Movies Galore. One I have seen multiple times, and one I have yet to see. And one is actually a third-time conversion, and I may even keep the other one that I have, but the other one is brand new to my collection. And those are the two movies based on Frank Miller's Sin City. We got the first one, which is Frank Miller's Sin City, and the second one, which is subtitled A Dame to Kill For.
I want to upgrade mine to Blu-ray eventually.
The first one, of course, was Miller's directorial debut along with Robert Rodriguez. And the entire thing was shot in stark black and white against green screen with occasional spots of color. And it was a damn good movie. I enjoyed it. It had some really good stuff in it. You had Bruce Willis, Jessica Alba, Mickey Rourke, Benicio del Toro, a whole bunch of folks in there. There was one scene that was directed by Quentin Tarantino, but like I said, the rest was Miller and Rodriguez. And then I think, no, they reteamed for the sequel, Dame to Kill For. And basically what this one did, I know the first movie took two of these comics, two of the stories from the comics, and wove them together and used the third one as sort of a bookender. I don't know exactly if they did that for this one, but maybe. I have a really awesome edition of this that I picked up. It's on DVD, and it's huge compared to this. I think this has all the same special features. If it does, I may part with that set. I haven't made up my mind yet. But this one's definitely new to the collection. I'm glad I finally got it. I need to watch the damn thing. It was just one of those things, the thing that it's like, oh, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it.
The same here. I still have not watched it. Mine's been sitting in my collection for ages.
But
and it's just,
I think I saw that one in theaters, and that's actually a really good one for that. But
it's been a long
it's good
time.
Times. Yeah.
I wouldn't mind. I think what I'm waiting for is a good 4K double feature set.
Yeah.
And that will be I'll probably upgrade to that.
Actually, I could see this getting the Arrow treatment. If Arrow did that, I'd be all over that.
So this next one I got because a friend of ours, Kyle Rappaport, is in it. And also Sean C. Phillips is in this as well. And that is a anthology series called Isolation Activity. Heaven Help the Lonely. Now, Isolation Activity is all about the evils of technology. It's hosted by somebody that's a late-night radio host. But, yeah, you should definitely see this. If anything, see it for Kyle's feature in it. Or if you really are one of those people, I used to be one of those people who wanted to get everything Coluder was in. But then he just went into everything, so it was just too hard to follow.
He's everywhere. He's everywhere.
So, and Amityville Karen didn't help my thoughts on that. But I enjoyed his short in this as well, and I think this is a worthwhile thing to get. I want to say it's on Retrosploitation, but I could be wrong. It's from New Wave Pictures. So I am reasonably happy with this one.
Okay.
I mean, I think I'm probably going to put this one, Crypto the Necrodancer, and the one Animu I've got up here up for the thumbnail. So, it's fun. If you like some of these low-budget ones, I mean, shoot. I have submitted a film with Jake in it, for one, and a friend of ours is working on one that's that's going to have both of us in it, and I'm actually working on trying to film another short film, which will hopefully have Jake in it if he decides to do it. But I'll pitch him that after we're filming to see what he thinks. But that'd be my if I did that, it'd be my second short film that I've done. Boy,
I've had a couple of films. I'd like to have more. I'd really like to have more.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, next up is one that is new to my collection, and again, this is one that I'm like, I was like, oh, I want to see that. Yeah, I want to see that. Yeah, I want to see. I just never got around to it. And this is a film by someone who's just as known for being political as Michael Moore, but it's probably his most mainstream film from what I've heard. And it's a Spike Lee joint starring Denzel Washington, Clive Owen, and Jodie Foster called Inside Man. And, it's got a little bit of bonus features on there. But, I mean, again, you got that cast. You've also got Christopher Plummer, Willem Dafoe, Chiwetel Ejiofor, and Terrence Blanchard. That's a pretty... Oh, sorry, Terrence Blanchard did the music. Sorry. He does the music for a lot of Spike Lee joints. But, yeah, I mean, that cast is incredible. And it's basically a thriller about, Inside Man, and basically about a heist, bank robbery.
Inside Man!
And again, it's, like I said, Lee is known for his politics, but he's also known for being a very skilled director who sometimes swings for the fences and does something you wouldn't expect.
Yeah.
And I do want to see this. It's been on my list forever, and when I saw it was being part of this offer, I was like, why not?
Yeah.
So, finally got it.
So I got a thing from Limited Run a while back from Wired Productions, and it finally came. It's a horror game called Martha is Dead.
Oh.
It's more of an atmospheric horror. It looks like a lot of puzzle solving, manipulation, first person. As you play this person who's kind of gotten off the tour bus of Italy, and it's investigating this death of this person named Martha. Not the Martha from the Justice League. Martha! But
Which one?
That's true. So it's interesting looking. And it wasn't that expensive, so I said, I'll go ahead and I'll throw my money in on the ring for it. And I do look forward to checking it out and playing it.
Okay.
I am very much looking forward to it.
Good deal. Okay, my next two are an upgrade and a putative addition to my collection, but they share the idea that I'm not 100% certain I don't already have them on Blu-ray. I think I don't. I didn't figure it would hurt to have extra copies in case, but I really hope I'm adding them. But this one I know I had on DVD. And it's a classic film that a lot of people really enjoy. The one that put Natalie Portman on the map for most people, which is Léon, a.k.a. The Professional, a Luc Besson film, which also put Luc Besson and Jean Reno on the map for most Americans. They're well known in France, but, they were really... This is a big one. Gary Oldman's in there, too, and it's a great role for him. He's a very entertaining role. This is a very entertaining... Danny Aiello's in there, too. It's a very entertaining film. I enjoy it, and I know a lot of people just love this. It's like one of the best action films ever made. I don't give it that much credit, but I do love it. Like I said, I know I had it on DVD. I don't think I've upgraded it yet. So, hopefully this will be the upgrade. And certainly, it's going to be prettier and smaller than the DVD was.
So I've got an isekai that kind of skirts the edge of potential for Halloween. I think you had made the statement that pretty much any medieval could be Halloween.
Right. Well, also, I was surprised you didn't think thematically that would be a Halloween one.
This is one that I have already shown off the first season and the third season. And I think it's because I was trying to get the special edition of all of them. I still can't for the first, and I'm not paying a lot of money for that. But I did manage to get this cheap. So
nice.
I've got Overlord Season 2 on there. I got that for $20.
That's pretty
a while
good.
back. And it's just been sitting on the shelf. And I'm like, okay, I've got the first and third one just sitting there like, yep, presented. And then the second one just sitting in the middle like, nope, not me. So this one is an isekai of a guy who's playing a game, and he plays this kind of skeleton lord, evil guy online. And they're sitting there for the online party to watch the servers get shut down, and then when they get shut down, he's stuck there as his evil evil overlord guys. and he finds that some of the NPCs and so on take on a life of their own. So he ends up playing the Overlord. Now, this is a pretty cool set. It's got an art book, and it's a rather hefty looking one. So I am kind of glad to have it. There's a 4th season either out or coming out, so I'm going to have to get a hold of the one of these for that too, I'm sure. But I'm on the lookout.
Good deal.
I kept thinking it was on the Isekai Quartet, but it's not.
Overlord's part of that.
Because Quartet, because you got Relive, you've got that woman, the
Konosuba and the Saga of Tanya the Evil, and Overlord.
Okay, so that's the 4th one.
Yeah.
What else was I thinking of?
I don't know.
Oh well, there's so many isekais out there. You could do a quartet of a lot of isekais.
Right.
There's like 1 billion of them. Matter of fact, they're like 90% of what anime is these days.
Nah, I wouldn't say 90%, more like 65%.
So, but Overlord Season 2. Nice box, probably never be opened.
Yeah, it is nice, yeah. I'll need to see that eventually. So my next one, again, I'm about 95% sure I don't yet have it in the collection. And it's not for lack of interest, because this was one I was waiting for. This is the movie that took Terry Gilliam over 30 years to make. And he finally got it made. And that was a film called The Man Who Killed Don Quixote. Yay. So we've definitely mentioned it on the channel here. And it stars Adam Driver, Jonathan Pryce, Olga Kurylenko, Stellan Skarsgård, Joanna Ribeiro, and some other folks. But basically the gist of it is Driver is a hotshot young director who got his start basically in the hills of Spain. He filmed a really well-received artsy film back there. And then years later, when he's he's really taken off. He's really like the big guy, the big man in town or whatever. And he gets an opportunity to shoot another film in Spain. And while he's filming, he realizes, wait a minute, we're just a couple towns over from where I was last time. I'm going to go visit. And so he finds that it's not quite what he expected. Most notably, Jonathan Pryce, who had played Don Quixote, or who had played, the Man of La Mancha, who had played, what am I saying? I don't know what I'm saying. Yes, he played Don Quixote. He believes that is who he is. He has come to believe that he is that character. And he has been giving tours and so forth in that character for many years now. And the two of them meeting again sets off a whirlwind of what can only be described as Terry Gilliam weirdness. And it's a really fun movie. I really enjoyed it. And I do believe, even though Jonathan Pryce gave one of the worst performances of his career for Terry Gilliam in The Brothers Grimm, I think in this one, it's one of his best. He should have gotten a lot of praise for this role. And Driver was great, too. And I'd say the movie was more or less worth the wait. I think one of the reasons for my hesitation was I'd really like to have a really fancy... I'd like to see Criterion put this out along with Lost in La Mancha, the documentary.
That's what I was looking for. I was trying to think of what the name was.
Yeah, but that would be a really fun...
I think those should go together.
Yeah.
Because they one's about the making of course, many of the people that he's got, on there, that's over there behind I Love Lucy. Yeah. But, it's kind of funny, a lot of the characters that he had originally cast for it were not in the last thing because it was just
most of them weren't.
Yeah, it's, I think Johnny Depp was originally supposed to
Johnny Depp, and I want to say Joaquin de Almeida, maybe, or
But then again,
can't remember.
I mean, Baron Munchausen's finally getting a Criterion,
Yes,
so you
yes.
know they're eventually going to be like, well, we only have these two left. Why don't we go ahead?
Didn't Baron Munchausen have like a Laserdisc release at one point?
It's possible. Who knows?
But it's never had a proper like
Yeah.
DVD Blu-ray release. So yeah, it's about time on that.
You know what's interesting is I've noticed that most of these Woody Allen films that I have on DVD are getting re-released on Blu-ray, like as it goes. Like those
Yeah.
sets over there,
Yeah.
they're being released slowly on Blu-ray now. And it's tempting. It is
Yeah.
very tempting.
Yeah.
So, you know, some things are just being covertly dropped. So, this one definitely is Halloween,
Nice.
which is The Real Ghostbusters. Now, there's only one way to get the entire set, and you got to pay a lot of money for that Firehouse set that has all the episodes. But this one has a lot of the episodes.
Okay.
It has the 4 volumes that were released. Like I said, unfortunately, there are, and I paid like very little money for this. Unfortunately, a lot of these episodes are kind of lost to time. But if you were lucky enough to have bought the Firehouse set when it came out, it is really cool because it looks like the Firehouse. Dustin showed me his because he got one. You were actually one of the few people who has the entire series on physical. And this was around when I was growing up. I was I was a tween at the time. I think this came out and was in the popular time period. And it was based off of the actual Ghostbusters film. They had to call it The Real Ghostbusters because there was another Ghostbusters that was based off of the Ghostbusters that came out in the 50s. That also came out. And that one I watched the heck out of when I was a kid. And I do have that, but I've only had that on bootleg because that one's heck out of print. But I look forward to it. I want to see this. So I might have to bust this out because busting makes me feel good, as they say. And check it out again. But it is kind of cool to have it. I was wanting this for a while, so it's just kind of cool to have a piece of your childhood that you can throw in. And...
Yeah.
Did you watch this growing up?
Yeah, I know.
It was on like the typical channel.
Yeah, I watched a lot of it. I probably didn't see 100 episodes, but I saw a good chunk of it. Enjoyed that quite a bit. Okay, so our faithful viewers will, of course, know that we recently posted the 2022 Versus Awards for the films from 2021. And the next 2 films are actually both ones that are new to my collection that were in consideration, by me at least. I don't think anyone else who actually bothered nominating had bothered to watch these 2 films. And one of them, I think, barely made the cut for me. No, I take that back. I know Dave saw this one. But it didn't quite make the cut, unfortunately. And the other one, I think, almost made the cut in like 2 categories. The first one was a film that disappointed me, but I still... I thought it was worth having the collection. Guy Ritchie is kind of like Terry Gilliam in that when he's on point, his films are pretty awesome. But he has had some disappointments over the years, too. And I still don't know why Disney had him do Aladdin. That was kind of a strange... I think that if he had done a Guy Ritchie style, it could have been awesome. But he tried to do a Disney style, and it was good. You know? But then he followed that up with The Gentleman, which was great. It was a return to form, and I loved it. And then he did it... This one is the second remake of a foreign film he's done. And the first one, I still have not seen Swept Away, the film that Madonna was in, that was when they were married, and everyone hated it and said it was one of the worst films ever made. But this one is a remake of a French film, and it's called Wrath of Man, and stars Jason Statham. And it's actually got a very fascinating plot to it that I don't know I want to go into it because it might ruin this. It's got some twists to it. Let's put it that way. But Jason Statham is the main character in the film. You've got a few other fairly notable people in there. Josh Hartnett's in there, Eddie Marsan, Scott Eastwood, Laz Alonso, and some other people I'm less familiar with. But essentially, Statham plays a security guard for like you think like Brinks, like the money truck drivers, what have you. He plays one of the security guard for this crew. It's a moderately entertaining film, but very, very, very downbeat. Statham is a very downbeat character in the film. I wanted to like it a lot more than I did, but it just wasn't much fun. But it was good. You know what I mean? But a Guy Ritchie film should be fun, and even when it's trying to be serious. And I don't know, but still, it's worth having in the collection, and I was happy to get it for a relatively low price.
Now, speaking of fun, I've got a series here that is a lot of fun, and that is Trimmers, the complete series. Now, this really, the Trimmers movies are hit or miss, especially the last couple. But
is this all of them, or
it's only one season?
Oh, it's a series.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, but this was fun for the most part. I liked it all the way through. So we got the orange discs, so kind of Halloween-like there. I just enjoy it because, the graboids have been made into an endangered species, so nobody can hunt them. And they basically have to go on the wild and wacky adventures. El Blanco, which is the big one, has albino one that can't evolve. That's the one that's like super protected and is basically a mainstay character throughout the series. It's just in general a fun series. I really love the tone of it. Even though it's a good ways cheaper than some of the movies, at least the earlier ones. It is well worth the time. If you haven't had a chance, you want to watch something fun for the season, this is a lot of good fun.
Good deal. Did it have any of the same characters? I forget.
I think Bert.
Okay. Was that the Michael Gross character?
The guy with the mustache.
Yeah.
And I think that's it, really.
Okay. Have to give that a go.
It's like a Sci-Fi Channel series, I think.
Okay, the other one, which I really thought would at least possibly get on our list for best poster cover design, because it's such a wonderful poster. But also, I was aiming for Christopher Lloyd to get a cameo nod for this one, because he plays Bob Odenkirk's father in a very amusing role. A movie that was called John Wick, but with an ordinary guy, was the Bob Odenkirk starring Nobody, which he's not really as ordinary as he first appears, but Bob Odenkirk is no Keanu Reeves, You've also got Connie Nielsen in there, the RZA, and like I said, Christopher Lloyd as his father. It is a very entertaining film. Very, very entertaining. Probably more so than had any right to be. And again, look at that cover art. How did that not make our final 6? But I really don't think anyone else bothered to watch it. I don't know why, but it's a fun movie. I'm glad to have it. I was looking for a chance to pick it up,
We had good cover art contenders.
We did.
You gotta admit.
Yeah.
I'm not. And the one that won was Suicide Squad. So
Yeah.
This is one that it's been in its last season for a couple of years now, it feels like, which is The Walking Dead. But I went ahead and I always try to get them when the seasons are under 20. And so this is the 9th season.
Okay.
And I kind of stopped watching it after the Negan story. And this is the 10th season. I got this one with the actual slipcover.
Nice.
So I got these actually for around 10 each back when I got them. Black Friday deal. It's been a while. I just thought I would go ahead and catch myself up from what I had with The Walking Dead. I've got everything up to that. I think there's like 11 and 12 are the last 2 seasons. But I'll collect them eventually. I thought about getting rid of it because it's kind of just there, but then I realized, you know what? It's coming to an end. So I'll just get those and then have a complete series and not care about the other series that are out. I can say, okay, it's the end. All right, done. No more Walking Dead. No, those other shows don't exist. No more Walking Dead. So, 9 and 10 added to the collection.
All right. And for my last one, I'm going to change things up a little bit. Recently, we had the Richmond Folk Festival, which is a wonderful yearly event. Unfortunately, they suspended it in the year of COVID, and then I think they brought it back last year, but kind of like not quite what it normally is. This was my first time in 3 years, I think, going there. And I was disappointed that there wasn't anyone there that I knew going in. And due to various issues of timing and whatnot, I ended up only actually seeing 2 of the shows. I saw a really pretty good bluegrass outfit called Sideline. They were a little southern for my tastes, but there was, at least they followed their cover of Sweet Home Alabama with a cover of Drift Away, which is a phenomenal song, and I liked hearing a bluegrass version. They were followed up by this Mexican group called Son Rompe Pera, and they bill themselves as Mexican marimba mixed with cumbia, ska, and punk rock. And they were freaking awesome. Problem was, Plan 9 didn't bring CDs for either of those bands. And they did bring a vinyl for Son Rompe Pera for $40 a pop. But unfortunately, since I don't collect vinyl, because I don't really have much of a way to play it, and because it is expensive, I didn't do that. The CD is available on Amazon, and I will be getting it. I just don't have it yet. But I like getting something at the show. I feel like I should get something at the show. So I went with a promising-looking group that I actually did hear from a distance as I was leaving. I heard like their last song from a distance because they were on Browns Island and I was walking by. And it's a group from Cape Breton called, and I'm probably going to butcher this, Bella. And they, this is a CD called Variations.
Like the Vampire.
It's got 12 tracks on it. I'm not familiar with this group, but I love me some Celtic music, and I actually have heard of this band. It wasn't enough to draw me out. I didn't know them well enough to draw me out, but I'd heard of them before. So I was like, okay, this will be my requisite purchase. As you can see, I haven't gotten around to listening to this CD either. It's still wrapped up, but someday soon I will put this in and enjoy it, and someday soon I'll get that Son Rompe Pera CD and I'll get to enjoy it too.
So, this one has an interesting story attached. That's kind of a cool ending one for Halloween. I saw this with my wife. We were just flipping through some Shudder and seeing what was available to watch. So like we do sometimes. We'll just sit in bed and we'll say, okay, let's watch something scary. And then I saw this and I was like, oh, this looks weird. Okay, let's check this out. And, we can check out, and we're like, okay, we'll check out the first 10 minutes. And that came 20 minutes, and eventually watch the whole thing. And that was the WNUF Halloween special. And then I found out that Vinegar Syndrome actually came out with this edition. Oh, wow. I couldn't tell what was written there. You can't really do it, but you can see there where they got some pen stuff written here. It looks
I didn't
like
even see that.
It looks like a VHS. It even has a little bit of the raised stuff here. This is raised. You know, it got the little stuff on the back and the sides to make it look like a VHS tape. This is actually raised up. It has the, like, you know, the times for the speeds. And then it also has the original cover. Which is kind of cool. And a lot of extras. Now, I do not have the disc in here because we're watching it now. But essentially, this is a movie that goes...
Crap tape test first.
That goes like... Okay, not many of you were alive when I was alive. Many of you young ones were probably born long after VHS was ended and started watching things through streaming instead of on TV. But I grew up in the 80s and 90s. In 87, when this is based, is as if there was a TV special that they were doing in the 1980s, and there would be these types of specials that they would do during holidays. I'm sure you remember stuff like that too.
It definitely felt legit.
You know, and what they did with it is they recorded it, then they recorded it with a video camera on a TV, and then they took that videotape, and then they recorded that over another videotape, and that's how they managed to get this to look as authentic as it does. And it does. It looks like someone taped it off the TV. The picture quality, this did not need a Blu-ray version, but its picture quality is horrid, much like it was when I was growing up, but we didn't realize that because that's all we had growing up. Same with the sound quality. And the commercials and stuff that they showed, a lot of them were hilarious. It just is a nostalgia fest. And the idea is that they're going to go explore this house where these murders occurred. And yes, there is a real ghost, and yes, a real haunting. But there's a lot of funny thing there. They had like this the psychic duo who investigate psychic phenomena with their psychic cat.
Yeah.
And a priest that was just maybe that was hired actor there. It was to me it was great. It has a whole bunch of cool extras on it, including their Christmas special and including some extra commercials that didn't quite make the cut on here. So it's well worth the time especially if you grew up in this time period in the late 80s, early 90s. You remember what TV specials were like on like those analog TVs? Do yourself a favor and check this out. It is great. And I really enjoy having it as part of the collection. Alright, well that's it. That's all I got. So with that being said, I hope you've enjoyed this. If you did, click that like button, hit that subscribe, and share, and we'll see you on the next one, which of course, next one for me means I'll be broadcasting from a tropical island on the shore, and Jake will be manning the camera, and we'll be showing our pickups there, some beach themed stuff.
All right.
So we'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.
All right.